Hey Samford fans, welcome into another episode of the Samford Sports Wrap-Up. I'm John McAfee, happy to be joined once again by Samford cross country head coach Chad Ballio. Coach, appreciate you being here. You were on the show a couple of weeks ago and we talked about some of the early progress and results of your team, and you've had a couple of meets since that point and some more good results for you guys. Let's start by talking about the JSU Foothill Invitational a couple of weeks ago, a first place finish for both the men and the women.
Yeah, well, first, John, thanks for having me. I thought Jacksonville State went pretty well for us. It was a good opportunity to get out, see the front of the race, get some momentum. Both men's and women's teams ended up winning, so provided some good momentum heading into championship season and that UAB Blazer Classic. So.
Yeah, and that UAB Classic last week, a fifth place finish for the men and the women, and some tougher competition in that one, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, so some deeper programs. It was good to get a little bit of a more aggressive race in before the conference meet. It was the first time the women ran 6,000 meters, so that was important. Heading in, the regional meet is 6,000 meters as well, so good to get some practice at that distance. And both races went out a little bit quicker, so it was good to get calloused, getting out a little bit more aggressive, because I think, looking at the Southern Conference Championships, we're going to need to be prepared for something a little bit quicker early on.
Individually, is there anyone that you've seen that maybe has surprised you or really taken some big steps forward from the beginning of the season until now?
Yeah, so I guess, starting with the women, Cheyenne has done just a fabulous job of really being open-minded and just staying really consistent this fall. It's been great. She's really established herself as, a low stick for us and for our women's program. And on the men's side, very proud of the way Dylan Dean has been racing. Just a really tough individual. Gritty, puts in the work, and has been very consistent over the course of the entire fall. So really excited for both of those individuals to head into championship season fit, ready to go, and to see what they can do.
Everything you guys have done so far is kind of preparation for what's next, and that's the Southern Conference Championships next week, October 27th. Talk about where you guys are at preparation-wise for that, and what do you expect to see in that meet?
Yeah, so overall, couldn't be more excited for championship season to start. I think both men and women's programs are healthy, fit, and looking for their best races of the season coming up here in 9 days. So both men and women, I think, have put themselves in a position where they can have an opportunity to be a top 2 program in the conference. On the men's side, Eastern Tennessee is going to be a tough opponent that we're going to have to match up against. And on the women's side, Chattanooga is going to be that program. So those are the programs that we're really keying off of. Again, I think it's just going to come down to executing the race plan and who's the toughest over the last couple thousand meters.
Coach, appreciate you being here, and good luck next week.
Yeah, thanks, John.
Cross country head coach Chad Ballio. Stay tuned. We've still got an interview with Cheyenne Mallory coming up next.
Hi, I'm Sam Pritchard, and this is your Samford Sports Minute. The cross country teams were back in action last weekend in the UAB Blazer Classic. Both the men and women placed 5th. They're off this weekend, but will be back in action in the SoCon Championships on October 27th. The men's golf team was also back in action over the weekend. They placed 4th in their last tournament of the fall, the Auto Trader Collegiate Classic. The women's golf team had the weekend off, but they'll be back in action next week competing in the Terrier Intercollegiate. The women's soccer team continued their strong play in the SoCon, beating Chattanooga 2-0. They're out of town this weekend, facing off against VMI and UNCG in their last 2 regular season games of the year. If the Dogs win those, they'll win the SoCon regular season title for a 5th consecutive season. The volleyball team had a good win this weekend, beating Western Carolina 3-2 in an intense match. They're out of town again this weekend, facing off against Furman on Friday and Wofford on Saturday. The football team continued to gain most momentum last weekend, beating VMI 73-22. They'll look to keep their offense hot this weekend when they face Furman in Greenville. And finally, the women's tennis team participated in the Southern Region Championships and had 4 doubles victories and 2 singles wins. They had the weekend off, but are back in action in the Roberta Allison Fall Invitational October 26th through the 28th. The men's team also competed in the Samford Round Robin this weekend, with the doubles teams going a combined 6-0. They're back in action this weekend in the ITA Regionals at Alabama. I'm Sam Pritchard, and this has been your Samford Sports Minute.
Welcome back to the Samford Sports Wrap-Up. I'm joined now by junior cross-country runner Cheyenne Mallory. Cheyenne, thanks for being here. And I talked to your coach a little bit about the improvement and the growth of you guys. I just want to kind of get your opinion on that, of what you've seen growth-wise really since the start of the season until now.
Yeah, I think our team, well, the girls team, has grown a lot since the first race. We're starting to get in our peak season. So training has been centered around us peaking around this time, and I think that our girls are now coming together, racing together, and we're getting used to each other. So it's all coming together well in the championship season time.
Let's talk about the season you're having individually. A pretty good resume you've built up, including a couple of wins. You've got to be pretty happy with how you're running this year.
Yeah, I am, and it's kind of shocking also. I would never have expected to win my first individual title in a cross-country race. But yeah, doing it twice, it's just like building my confidence and showing that I am talented and I can do this. So it is exciting. The season has been surprisingly good, and I'm excited about it. I'm really fit.
So you say you're shocked. What were your expectations coming into the season?
Well, I knew I was more fit coming in, but I would not have expected to win a cross-country race. I guess expectation-wise, I knew I would be up and like leading the team, but I would never have thought I would be a low stick how I am. Like Coach Ballio said, being consistently a low stick for the team, I wouldn't have thought. But now I'm confident in that, and I'll just use that momentum to carry me through across championship season.
Yeah, so you've got the SoCon Championships coming up next week. What do you expect, both as a team and individually?
As a team, we're hoping for top 2. I think that's very feasible for our team. Chattanooga and of course Furman are going to be our top 2 teams we're going to have to run against, but top 2 is definitely our goal, and individually top 10 for sure, and hopefully top 5. But yeah, going in hopefully top 10 individual. Yeah.
Cheyenne, appreciate you being here. Thanks for your time.
Thank you so much.
Thanks again to Cheyenne Mallory, as well as cross-country head coach Chad Ballio, for joining me on this episode of the Samford Sports Wrap-Up. That's going to do it for this week's edition. We'll see you next week.